technical difficulties. There we go. Huh. Does that sound right? Something weird today. What happened to my mic? Huh. Does that sound right? Sound about the same as usual? Let's see. Yeah, that's it. That's the mic. There's like 30 mics in this room, so I never know which one's I never know which one's picking up the sound. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. You got hosed on CRWV. Julia, did you wait for the daily 20 and the daily 100? As we talked about. Or did you chase it because it got you excited? Right? That's, Julia, something you can work on. It was very clear that we needed to get above that daily 100, daily 20. We never did. Trade never set up, right? Good morning, everyone. Chef, welcome. Chef, I thought you're already part of the coffee fund, no, Chef? Welcome back, brother. What's up, everyone? How we doing? Morning, morning, morning. Can't hear, can't trade. That's right. Yeah, fantasy draft last night. That was fun. Appreciate you guys showing up. We got a nice two leagues, 2 12-person leagues. Some interesting picks from a few individuals, but it was a fun time. Morning, guys. All right. Well, today is Friday. We have a 3-day weekend ahead. I am leaving this weekend to get away and enjoy. So the quote of the day is my goal of the day. The quote of the day today is the goal of my day today, and that is to not mess up my weekend and to not mess up my month. We're up $47,000 this month, just about 44, I think, after yesterday, possibly 46-ish. And so we're on a 50K month, man. And today's the last day, and I have no, and I mean no, interest in messing that up. So trades today, 5-10 contracts, jump through the hula hoops, see if anything I like sets up. Maybe look for some bigger ideas for next week, right? Sort of develop a thesis for next week, develop some trade ideas for next week, something that maybe is bigger picture, right? Stay in tuned, but yeah, not interested today, right? Yeah, it's, I sort of thought about that, Foolish. But there's just so many people that I feel like it's only right to let others in, But I do agree. Maybe maybe the winners we keep in there or something. Top 3 gets another shot. I agree. I should do that this year. So sorry about that, Foolish. We'll get you in next year, man. All right. That's my mindset. There's some interesting setups out there. There's also some not interesting setups. And the fact of the matter is that the S&P 500 is right back within the channel. It tried to break above all-time highs yesterday. It failed back within it. And right now, you guys can see that, don't look at the mic because that's all, or the camera because that's all messed up. But look at what's going on here. We are failing back under all-time highs after trapping traders above it into close yesterday. And that is why the title of this live stream is Bull Trap, because I think you're actually looking at a pretty clean bull trap right now. And I would be very careful to long the market today unless we get back above a major key level that I'll talk about. And then on top of that, we have Friday giveaway. So make sure you stick around at the end of today's live stream. We'll do our giveaway as we have over the last few weeks. And that'll be it. Here we go. Let me fix this camera because everything's all messed up as always every morning for me. Oh, there you go. You can see what I'm talking into. There you go. That's the camera I talk into and stare at you guys at. Let me fix this. All right. Let's see here. How's that looking? It's a mess here, folks. That's looking good. Happy Friday, Anna. All right. We'll do a hat and I think we're going to do 2 items today. Hat and shirt. So I think it's this shirt. With the Porsche. It's a sick shirt, actually. We'll do both. We had a good month. All right. So, today, economic calendar, let's pull that up. The old economic calendar. So today, PCE price index 830. Here it is. PCE price index 830. Personal income, personal spending 830. We'll see what happens at that 830 news. Chicago PMI 945. Not that interested. Consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. Something to watch there at 10 o'clock as well. So some things to pay attention to today. Let's see what happens at 830. BABA earnings this morning, really not that interested. Let's just jump right into the levels. Desi, thank you so much for helping stay on Tesla put mentally. There you go, electrician. That's what it's all about, man. That's what the community's about. And I hope, I hope that you can learn from us to do it yourself, right? So well done, man. All right, NASDAQ futures. Let me go ahead and talk you through what I'm seeing here and what I would be cautious of today, my friends, because I don't mean to be bearish, but I also think you need to be understanding of what just happened last night. So, if you look at this 4-hour chart, okay, you have some major previous 4-hour highs right here and right here and right here. Those are some major 4-hour rejection highs right there. You went above that level yesterday. Right here, right? This was the high. You went above this level yesterday, and you are now failing back under it today. So you are starting to see, in my opinion, everyone that longed late day yesterday on the NASDAQ futures, they are opening up underwater here, right? It's a terrible arrow. Everyone that longed above the major supply high at 670, 689, those 4-hour highs, here late day, right, are now underwater as of this pre-market. So there's a little bit of a concern on that here for me, right? Not really that fond of trying to long back into this high where we clearly rejected this high as well. This is also not a short-term high. This is a 4-hour, major double top rejection point right here and right here. And we're now trading back below it. So there's a little bit of concern here for me, all right, about that move. Now, the problem is you can't really short it. You can with a, stop loss above this high. But guess what, my friends? You are right back in the channel that you have traded in all week. Welcome back. Welcome back to the channel that you have traded in since Friday of last week. Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You tried to get above it yesterday, and you are right back in it. And everyone that longed above it is trapped. That to me is not good. I'm not saying this is the top. You got to short you might go get a second mortgage, buy SPY puts with your second mortgage. You know, that's not what I'm saying. But it's definitely a reason to not want to be long, right? Into an end of week, trying to get us back above this high that is clearly starting to lock out and reject right now in the pre-market. So I would be very careful of that today, my friends. You have PDL, which is, definitely a spot that could hold today, and then just do absolutely nothing. I'm not saying that you have to see this happen, but I bet you that it's going to be really hard to go higher back above this high. And you'll probably find some demand lows, right, at PDL. You'll probably see the daily 20 try to hold up a little bit. I'm sure you're still going to find downside demand levels because that's the market, right? It's very strong right now. But there's a meaning behind this failure back under 670, 690. I would be paying attention to that today. Simply put. QQQ. So a little bit of a different story on the Qs, which is what keeps you open to possibly, also being careful on the short side and also possibly still staying open to the long, right? And this is what makes it a little bit more confusing. So let me show you. QQQ, you have a major high, 577. You have a major high, 577. You have a major high, 577. You popped into that level yesterday and failed. 577. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a major, major spot at 577 that you are failing. So that's important, right? You can see there was a little bit of a peak above that 577 yesterday into end of day. And how many people, right, took some spot or some Q longs overnight because of this? Probably quite a bit. Look what happened. Back under, failed it. So, trapped. Right there. Back under yesterday's highs here. This is the end of day little squeeze that basically trapped everyone longing over the overnight, right? And we are right back into previous day low. So, not a fan of that. Now, here's the thing. Here's why you can't short this right now. Because you really can't short back into these highs that could hold as lows today, right? This could be a nice hold here. So you need to be careful of this high, these highs, right? These highs that developed, the lows from yesterday that developed, previous day lows. Right, where's previous day low? Previous day low is still below us, right? And I would probably even move this down to previous day low, to be quite honest. So you still have PDL here to be careful of if you are short. So I'm going to put this at like 573.50. Whoops. The hell? And I would go ahead and put just a little spot there. And I'm just going to basically do this and say PDL. Because you really can't be that short into PDL. That's not something that you can really do. If you can get under PDL, then you probably could see a little bit more downside. But guess what? Then you're welcome back to the range of Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Welcome back to that range again, right? So on the Qs, you really want to see, if you want to be bullish today, you really need to see 574 hold. You do not want to fall back within this channel. Okay? ES. Take a look at this. S&P 500. 6502. 6508, 6502, 6502, 6508, right? That's your supply zone right there. Look what happened here in the overnight session. Look what happened into end of day yesterday. Yesterday, you rejected early morning, you smack down, right? End of day, you get the grind, the hold, and the continuation above it. Right here, everyone's long above all-time highs. Look what happens here in the pre-market. Under it. So everyone that's long above previous all-time highs at 6508 right here are now underwater. So for me, the only long for me is a hold back above this 6508. That's the only long for me today. Right there. That's it. That would be the only long I'm interested in. I would not want to be long back into this high. I would not want to just randomly be long in the middle of this channel. There's no edge here, right? You can't just long here back into this major rejection point from yesterday. You can see what happened for people that longed into that level yesterday. Here you go. Anyone that was long into that level yesterday got smoked, right there. Long smoked, right? So you were able to reclaim it and hold it later day. That's what you have to see. I need to see this right there. Hold it, turn it into support, then maybe I'm interested on the long. Without that, I'm not interested in longing back into this failure point that clearly showed up both Wednesday and yesterday. Right? So very careful into that high there today. Need to see a move above it. If not, you are right back under that all-time high. And that is the channel again. Welcome back to the channel. Right? Welcome back to the consolidation range of the last few days right here. So need to see something happen here above 65.08 or maybe back down to 64.70, but definitely not in the center of this price action and this price action. And I'm just going to take some random shots today on a Friday. Not going to happen. SPY, same thing, right? Take a look at this SPY. You have this little uptrend that's been trying to hold. Look at the all-time high, 648, right? And look at how we failed back under 648 today. So you have this area of trap buyers, 648. That's the previous yesterday rejection point. Look at what happened here yesterday at 648, right? See this? 648, pop, fail. You got pop here and failed, 648, 647. You're right back under that. So for me, the only long is right here. Right there. That's it. If it's not there, I'm not taking a long today. If you reject these highs like you did yesterday morning, like this, you're going to see that drop again into previous day low. Under previous day low, you're going to come back to 644. All right? So there's some concern for me to the upside today. That doesn't mean I'm bearish. That just means I'm being understanding of you're fading back under major rejection points from yesterday. And it's probably not smart to be long into them again. So you need to clear out 648. That would then flip it back to the bull side, in my opinion, over 648. Okay. SMH tried to hold above 298 yesterday and failed it, right? That's another one that failed. You can see right here, SMH tried to hold 298 into end of day. What has it done? It's failed back under it, right? It has failed back under the level that has been rejecting. It tried to get above it. People maybe longed overnight. They're opening underwater, right? Not good. That's likely going to just sort of keep us stuck in this channel again. So for SMH longs, 298 has to break for me. I wouldn't really want to short into these lows though, right? So there's just no trade. Simply put, we're right back in the middle of the channel. I'm not going to short into the daily 20 and 293 demand. That doesn't make sense. I'm not going to try to long back into 298 rejections. And we are right in the center of a 5-point range. So just not interesting, right? It's one of those days where it's just not interesting. IWM has to hold this level in my opinion today. If you take a look at this, IWM has this major previous high. It held this demand zone here. I think you have to hold above 235 today on the IWM, right? These previous highs right here. I want to see this demand continue to hold strong. That would be the must hold for the longs. If you fail back under 235, then you're failing back under these highs. That could influence us back to Wednesday's lows. Okay, so 235 must hold IWM. This morning, you can see Bitcoin has broken a pretty major level, right? And has stayed relatively weak over the last few days. Right here, you can see we're back under that $112,000 level. We're still at potential bounce spots at these lows, so I'm really not that, bearish on it, but this is sort of staying weak. And if we go to the IBIT, we can see that the IBIT is failing these major previous highs, these lows right here, and you can see we're failing back under it. So sort of interesting there on IBIT. All right, so a little bit of concerns across some of the market moves. I'm a little bit cautious of us breaking back under some of those previous all-time highs, and for that, I'm going to be, again, just cautious of potentially looking for upside today. Yesterday, Tesla Break and retest of our 350 level was an insane trade. 50% runners. That was the best trade of the week for me in terms of percent, in terms of just how beautiful the trade was. Major previous lows on the day turning into break and retest rejections. Bear flag. This is exactly what we look for. I mean, it was pretty much textbook stuff. Bear flag right here. Little break. Bear flag retest. Bam. Straight down. 50% runners. Actually, probably over 50%. Here it was 50%. This was probably 60%. And this was definitely over 100%. So, awesome trade. We caught it live with the group yesterday. That was sick. Now, today, you're sort of floating right in the center of this zone, right? Huge 340 demand lows, major now 350 supply highs again, and you are right in the center of that zone today. So I'm really not that intrigued. This 345 could be a nice rejection play here if we can make a lower high and fail again back to 340. If you get back over 345 and sort of reclaim, you probably just float higher back towards 350. But to me, this is sort of the bigger channel. It's a 10-point zone, and I'm probably going to stay away from it today. NVIDIA, no interest again today. NVIDIA just continues to stay within this exact zone. Tried to push into all-time highs yesterday and got absolutely smoked. You can see here yesterday, just straight up candle right into all-time highs, sold off for the entire morning. So wild sort of flip there yesterday morning on NVIDIA. And it sort of still looks weak in my opinion, but I really just don't have a good read in between this channel, guys. Like, you're just sort of floating right in the center of major supply highs and major demand lows. And the trades that you need to take are at these levels, right? The short is here, the long is here. AMD starting to lose interest in my original trade idea. It's just failing continuously above 169, right? We have now seen 3 days of failures after trying to reach above it. So we tried to reach above it here, failed, tried to reach above it here, failed, tried to reach above it here, failed. Actually double topped there yesterday, right? This was a major trap and then failed it right here. And you can see we're failing back lower again. So yeah, I mean, just we're also getting this daily 20 trending lower, which is starting to put pressure on the price action. I'm going to need this to very clearly break 169 and probably have a full day above it before I'm now interested in this. Downside demand still there, so it's really hard to short. And yeah, daily chart on AMD, sort of, having a rejection of that daily 20, potentially creating a little bear flag action here. What's the NVIDIA daily chart look like? Yeah, nice rejection of those highs. So, yeah, a little bit cautious on the SMH after that failure back within. Okay, let's go over to Apple. The Apple daily chart looks incredible, and I'd love to, see market strength to trade this Apple trade, because the Apple daily chart is really nice looking, right? It's got these major previous highs. It's turning it into lows. That's really nice right there. Nice break and retest hold. Daily chart continuation looking strong. Just a little bit careful up at these highs, right? A little bit cautious up at these highs. I probably want to see these break, to be honest. So you can see right here, major wick high, major wick high, major wick highs, 233, 235 zone. Looks a little bit on the heavy side. Right? If the market is weak, then this probably finds a little bit of weakness as well. But if the market can flip strong and we can get a surprising move today to the upside, Apple could be nice. Over 235. So I would put an alert here over 235. That is definitely a nice looking daily. The thing that I do like that it's doing right now for the bull side is a hold over 231. That would be the key. Previous high, previous high. Here's major lows. Look at these major lows, 231. So that's going to be my watch there. Getting interested in the meta fade still. I've been back and forth about which direction this wants to go. But on the 4-hour chart, right, if the market does show weakness, you are still rejecting these previous lows. And that's still technically a break and retest failure, right? And a lower high potential here at this 760, 758 zone. So you have major previous lows that are still failing and sort of curling to the downside now. So for me, a break under this 735 and a break under this daily 50 likely gives us this move, right? You could definitely sort of look at, what Meta does under 735 today. And so that's going to be, something I'm keeping an eye on there for sure. Broadcom. It's a good pullback that I'm going to be watching here on Broadcom. This would be the most bullish thing I'm looking at today. If semis can find strength, it would be a pullback long back at 300. This is definitely something I'm watching here. You can have, you have previous major lows, previous major highs right here at this 300 spot. I would be looking to see if Broadcom can come back to that spot today. Gonna sort of wait for that. Amazon coming back to our 230 retest. That was a really nice trade yesterday over 230. Really nice squeeze. Gave you some nice opportunity. Today, let's see what happens on a pullback to 230. Just going to sort of monitor that. If we're, when we come back to 230, what does it do? I'll be keeping an eye on that. What else do I have today? Amazon. Microsoft is still interesting if it can clear out 511. You can see right here, this 511 high, which is this major earnings low, these rejections, so it is still rejecting that level, right? You can see Microsoft is still rejecting 511. It needs to clear that out. So I'm going to wait. If the market's bullish, I don't mind that upside. Going to be watching it. Aqua was sick yesterday to the upside off our 74 level. I mean, spot on. Demand's just ripped off our 74. So Aqua continues to be a really nice outperforming stock. I just don't have an entry point here, right? I just don't have an entry point here. Into this 80, 81 area is pretty heavy looking. Right up in here, 80 to 81 area is sort of heavy. I'm going to be very cautious up into that today. You also are failing back under this 78.50 spot. So yesterday might have been the move. And I just don't really see a chase long to take here. The next long that I would take is a break over these highs here. Right above this 81.20 spot right here. If you can clear that out, then you're definitely going to see more. But for now, I'm sort of cautious of longing into this, and longing into this. That doesn't really look like a good risk-reward long to me. It wasn't bad down here at the daily 20, but not where you're trading right now. So patience required. Palantir, still inside of this range. Daily chart does, it's nothing. It's nothing. I'm not going to make something out of nothing, right, guys? You can't make something out of nothing. And this is nothing, right? Take a look at this. There's your daily chart. What do you see here? I have no clue, right? You see major lows, you see major highs. You see a bunch of consolidation between it. How are you going to guess what happens here? You can't. So, next, CRWV. We talked about yesterday not to long this until you got above the daily 100, daily 20 SMA. You can see that was the exact high a day. Bam. Previous highs. We vividly said this yesterday. CRWV looks good. It looks strong in the pre-market, but you can't long it into the daily 100. Where was the high a day? The high a day was right at the daily 100 SMA. Here you go. High a day. Right here. Right there. Bam. 10 cents away from it. High a day. Gotta trust it. Can't long it into daily SMAs. Can't do it. You gotta reclaim daily SMAs. So, you can see CRWV, daily 100, daily 20, failing it, just like it did here, failing here. Only interest would be whether it pulls back to like this 98 spot to see maybe you can get a retest long, maybe and then get back above this. But for now, there's no long here unless you can get back above these daily SMAs. Let's see. Maybe we get this data to give us some juice. So a little bit of juice on data. Maybe this flips everything. All right, let's see. 6508. If we can get over 6508, then the thesis can flip. That is what we need. And it looks like the catalyst could help us. 648. QQQ. Holding 574. Needs to get over 577 for me. Let's see. Maybe we can get it. 648. Got to see this break. Right here. Got to see that break right there. If we can get back above it, and this zone right here, I like it. We need to get above this. We have to break back above this yesterday rejection point. Look. Look. We need to clear out this yesterday high right here. You can't long into this failure from yesterday. It doesn't make sense. You got to clear that out. So you can see again, we popped into that level and sellers are saying, no, sir. Got to get it. You got to see it. Don't try to anticipate it. Snow, very strong yesterday. However, did a little bit of a nasty thing yesterday. Snow gave you a monster move over the weekly high, right? Look at this end of day monstrosity of a move. I mean, that's a 10-point move to end the day on Snow, which is wild. And it is opening back under the weekly supply, which is just sort of nasty. So a little bit careful there. All right, if we go to the weekly chart, this was your weekly high that we were talking about, right? Right here. Take a look at this. Major weekly high. Major weekly high. And if I go out, I can go out 10 years. And you can, I mean, we're not going to have to see 10 years, but we can see here on the multi-year chart, major weekly high, 249 or 240, right? Look at what happened. You got above that 240 and squeezed. We're back under it. So be careful of that 240 today. ES it's testing it. It's testing it. Let's see if we can get above it, right? Right here is where things can open up. Right above 65.09. Let's see if we can get above it today. MongoDB, wild move post earnings. You are into a major weekly high rejection or weekly high breakout potential and rejection potential. We'll have to see what it does. Take a look at this MongoDB chart. This is wild. Huge weekly lows. Huge weekly lows. And you're trading right at it at 321. All right, look at this. Right at 321. See that? If you can get above that, you definitely could continue here, right? Major lows. Major lows. Bam, bam, bam. Can you get above that? If you can, there's really not much to 370. Where's the pullback now? Right here. I would look to see if this major 300 weekly high holds on a pullback. If you can hold that, then you might actually start to hold up and sort of, you know, maybe you don't pull back this zone. I think you will eventually, like I said yesterday, but maybe not now, right? Maybe it's in the future. But let's see. 300 would be a nice area to see if you can pull back and hold. That would be sort of a watch there today. CRM, the sector's hot, and so that's why I'm sort of interested to see what happens here. If you look at this daily chart, you have some major daily lows here. Lows, lows, and lows. 258. See that? If you can clear back over that 258 and turn these lows back into support, that could be a nice trade up into 275. So I am definitely going to be looking at a, you know, potential hold back above this 258 and this daily 50 right here. See that? That's going to be something I have an alert on. What's Bitcoin doing? It popped into 112, so maybe it holds again. Let's see. ES just sitting right under your supply level today. Look at this. Just sort of sitting right under it. This is going to be such an interesting zone today, man. This is so important today. What happens in here today is very, very important. Last thing I'm going to look at is Hood. Hood did get a nice pop because of probably this obviously this data. I just want to put this on your radar, okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on your radar. It's not ready to be traded, but there's a radar that, you know, there's something you should, I think you should put this on your radar, all right? Take a look at this daily chart on Hood. You have a vertical upside move on Hood, pretty much from, I mean, really from like 40s, and you're starting to either consolidate for another leg higher, or you're starting to top, right? Something is changing here, right? And when you have a big move and it starts to flatten out, there is interest. right? I'm not saying that you are definitely shorting this, but I can tell you that if you do break some key levels, number one being 99, you are going to start to navigate through a low volume area. The biggest low volume area is under 90 into around this 78 area. See this right here? See this area right here? Big drop off in volume right here. And if I go to the 4-hour chart, you can't short this. It's not ready for it, right? It's not ready for it. And I'll show you why. You can't short into these demand lows. So the trade is not ready, but it's interesting. It's something you want to hawk and sort of monitor. Under 99, I think you will see some flush action towards that 90 spot. But right now, it's just you can't do it because you can't short into these lows that continue to hold. Look, holding, 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 holding. It doesn't make sense to short into it. But it does make sense to see if that breaks in the future. Because if it does, you know there's opportunity below. So, something I'm watching very closely. All right. Yeah, ES, NASDAQ. So, NASDAQ pretty much tapped our exact 670 supply that we had from the live this morning. The ES tapped our exact 6502. I mean, we just basically tapped. Look at this. I mean, levels are spot on today. Spot on. Perfect. 648. All right, guys. I'm not going to do the giveaway if we don't get 1,000 likes. So if you guys could, please press the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of what to watch for today on the live stream. Now, I am going to big face. Let me go ahead and zoom out here a little bit. I am going to pull up the giveaway. So let's do it. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Alright, results, responses, filtering it to this week. Very nice. Someone put today's date as October 6th, 1983. That is not today's date. Someone put February 17th, 1972. Nice. March 20th, 1978. Very nice. Wow, we got January 22nd, 1986. What else we got here? What's the furthest back date we got? Oh, we got a winner here. January 27th, 1957. Wow, 1957. All right. All right. Let's download these responses. Okay. 1957, huh? Not bad. Please pick one winner. All right. Here we go. CSV is posted in there. Please pick one winner from this list. Only provide their first and last name. Philip Mobilio. Philip Mobilio. Hello, Philip. You are the winner of the live stream. Let me go ahead and just check the type form real quick. I'm gonna hide it real quick. I don't want to dox anyone. Philip Mobilio. Let me make sure I have this. Philip Mobilio. There he is. I got him. I got you, Philip. Croc, pick me, motherfucker. Philip, I'm going to shoot you an email with a link to buy a hat and a shirt for free on me. You got the Options Insider hat and the shirt. For you, Philip. Appreciate you watching the live streams. Why Philip and not me? Philip Morris. Oh, we're long Philip Morris today, aren't we? Did you see that? Did you guys see that? RFK, right? Is that his? Why am I feel like I'm not saying the right name? RFK, right? Why do I feel like? No. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, RFK. You saw he said that Zins are not. They're the safest form of nicotine. They said that yesterday. That's what Philip Morris might get a pump from that, actually. Philip Morris is actually quite interesting. I was sort of watching this yesterday. Not gonna lie. It's actually quite an interesting move. This stock has just been on an absolute heater. So Philip Morris, yeah, still interesting here. Maybe this 163 area could hold strong. Could be something to watch. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic 3-day weekend. Remember, the market is closed on Monday for Labor Day, so go enjoy yourself. Have a day off. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace out.